Live from the hippest spot online, you've arrived at the Pop Culture Juke Joint, the only weekly podcast you'll need for intelligent showbiz chats. So head up to the bar, grab a drink, and settle in here at the Pop Culture Juke Joint.
Hi, this is Jack Lugo, and you are listening to the Pop Culture Juke Joint podcast. I just got back from seeing Logan Lucky, and I had a great time. This is Stephen Soderbergh's return to theatrical filmmaking. He's sort of been in a semi-retirement. He's worked on some TV projects and so forth. And I think the last high-profile thing he did was the Behind the Candelabra film for HBO about Liberace. But this basically is his return to the heist flick. And this is a fun film to watch. I definitely would recommend that you go see it, especially if you enjoy the Oceans movies. I mean, we all know, that he basically mastered the heist film with those 3 Oceans movies that he put out. And I know they're doing a reboot of the Oceans movies with a female cast, and I think Soderbergh is a producer on that, but I don't think he's directing it. So if you want to see sort of a new heist movie, this is a good one. You can't go wrong with it. Let's put it that way. You have a stellar cast, and you have Stephen Soderbergh. What more can you ask for? So basically, you have Channing Tatum, who plays Jimmy Logan, and Adam Driver plays Clyde Logan. They're 2 brothers, and there's sort of a family curse that they're trying to reverse. And Jimmy has some financial issues, and he has a daughter who with his ex-wife, and his ex-wife is played by Katie Holmes, and she's one of these mothers who kind of has her daughters in these pageants, these beauty pageants, she kind of threatens to kind of move away, out of state. So he finds himself in a bind, and so they plan to pull off a heist at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and because he had worked there, he was actually laid off or let go because he had a war injury, and his brother, played by Adam Driver, he lost an arm, and Channing Tatum has a bum knee. Basically, Soderbergh has obviously worked with Channing Tatum before, with Magic Mike, but they also did a film called Side Effects right after Magic Mike, which is also very, very good, and Channing Tatum is great in that film as well. So if you haven't checked out Side Effects, please do, because I think it was a phenomenal film, and maybe didn't get the kind of viewership or the audience numbers that maybe box office numbers that it maybe deserved. Basically, you have Daniel Craig in this movie playing Joe Bang, and let me tell you, he actually steals the movie. I mean, anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge James Bond fan, and I really love the James Bond films that Daniel Craig has done, but he doesn't really execute the humor in those films very well, which is fine with me, because the Daniel Craig Bond films are more in the spirit of the Fleming books, and in the Fleming books there really isn't that much humor. So the fact that they don't give him as much humor to do in the Bond films as they did with the previous Bond actors is okay with me. But once in a while they do throw him a line or two, and you could tell that maybe he's a little uncomfortable trying to pull that off. I mean, sometimes he does it well. I think in Casino Royale, I think when he says the line, that last hand nearly killed me. That worked. But in other films, when they give him like a one-liner or a cheeky kind of one-liner, a humor thing, he doesn't really look very comfortable trying to pull it off. So it was, sort of a surprise to see him in this kind of role. Not only does he have to, sort of execute the kind of accent for the Southern accent for this, he also has to, be funny, and he does it very, very well. I mean, I gotta say, and this is not just because I'm a Bond fan. Daniel Craig is kind of the star of this film, even though it's kind of an ensemble film, and Channing Tatum is technically the lead. But Daniel Craig definitely does steal the film. And like many heist films, it involves a lot, some plot twists, some misdirection, and, it's kind of like a con game kind of thing going on. But you have... I think it's obviously, like I said, with Stephen Soderbergh, you can't go wrong. It's a very well written a screenplay. You relate to the characters. You kind of feel for Channing Tatum and his situation. You kind of enjoy the interaction he has with Adam Driver as his brother, and then you also have Riley Keough, who plays the sister, who's also involved in executing the plot, and she's a kind of a loving aunt to Channing Tatum's daughter in the film, and you get to see that as well. But yeah, definitely the Joe Bang segments, the scenes in this film are they're fun to watch. I mean, I don't want to get into spoilers too much, but it basically involves in order to pull off the heist, Joe Bang is incarcerated, and they have to sort of get him out of the prison, not only break him out of the prison in order to procure his services to pull off the heist. They also have to break him back in without the prison knowing that he's gone, because obviously, once they know that, he would, it would sort of jeopardize everything. So, it's, I think they, I mean, if you've seen the Oceans movies, you kind of know, where how these things sort of play out. But I mean, and there's even some self-referential things in it, and there's one line I think late in the film, and it's not really a spoiler, but one of the reporters, in like a newscast kind of playing in the background, calls it like Ocean's 7-Eleven, which I thought was kind of cute. So definitely, I think it's a film you want to you'll enjoy. It's maybe even a little bit more heartwarming than the Oceans films, because you have that relationship between Channing Tatum's character and the daughter, who's a little girl, and they have these sort of nods to country music and also the music to John Denver, and the music of John Denver, and Dwight Yoakam plays the warden in the film, which I thought was an interesting touch. And you also have Hilary Swank, who comes in late, and she plays an FBI investigator who comes in to sort of investigate what's going on after the heist. And there's a little bit more to it. I mean, because I think the Oceans films, for the most part, they kind of ended once the heist was pulled off. But this one kind of digs a little deeper, maybe not that much deeper, but you do get to see kind of life goes on after the heist kind of thing. And of course, there's a little bit of misdirection. I don't want to give the whole thing, I don't want to go into spoilers, obviously. So, but you definitely, you're going to go and you're going to have a good time. There's some great performances from everyone in that cast, and I think they should definitely consider making this a franchise like they did with the Oceans films. I could definitely see sequels, Logan Lucky 2, or however they decide to do it. I think just like the Oceans movies, they created, they have a great cast, and they created these characters that you relate to, and definitely enjoy watching, and you want to hang out with them even more after the film is done. So hopefully there's a future for a Logan Lucky film franchise, maybe Daniel Craig will reprise his role as Joe Bang once again. I know most Bond fans are dying for him to return to Bond, and obviously we got the confirmation rather that he is, even though it's sort of been in the news for a while that he's been attached to the next Bond film anyway. But it's like I said, Logan Lucky, a fun film to see. It won't go down as Soderbergh's best film. It'll probably, it's more of a minor film, but it's definitely worth a watch. And you have a good time. It's one of those films where you just, get entertained, and you have fun, and you go out, kind of smiling at the end. So I hope there's a sequel to it, and let's hope that we get to see more of these characters. And then I know Stephen Soderbergh's next project, I think it's called Unsane, and that one was shot entirely on an iPhone, or on a few iPhones anyway. So this isn't the last we're going to see of Stephen Soderbergh. He's actually going to be, doing attached to a few other projects, and TV and in film. He had, like I said, Unsane is the next film, and that's actually going to be starring Claire Foy and Juno Temple, and that one, should be interesting because, the whole thing being shot on an iPhone, it'll be interesting to see, how it looks. Then he's also going to be executive producing, and he's one of the creators of a project called Godless, and that's going to be on Netflix for a 6-episode limited series. And that one should be interesting too. We'll have to keep an eye out for that one as well. So I like I said, if you're a Steven Soderbergh fan, you're going to enjoy this movie, and there's more to look forward to. And obviously, if you like anyone in that cast, which I'm sure most people will find someone in that cast that they're a fan of, definitely go see it. It's just a fun night out. So Logan Lucky, definitely high marks from me. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's next from Soderbergh, and obviously from Daniel Craig, because he has a Bond film to make apparently. So just wanted to give my quick reaction to that film, to Logan Lucky. Had a great time. We'll be back with another episode of the Pop Culture Juke Joint very soon.
Enjoyed this episode of the Pop Culture Juke Joint? Then don't forget to tip the barkeep by subscribing and reviewing us on iTunes and Stitcher. Also, for some sizzling noir tales, head on over to Amazon to check out Anthony's hard-boiled fiction, available in print, digital, and audiobook formats. On social media, follow Anthony on Twitter at Anthony Venutolo, or like his page on Facebook. For everything else, please visit his webpage at www.anthonyvenutolo.com. We'll see you next week.